Integrated Engineering. My name is John, and today I'd like to do a quick function showcase of a combinatorics function that I wrote. I saw several questions on Quora that asked for an Excel function that generates all of the permutations of a set of items, and so I went and wrote one. I also have a function video on permutation A or permutation with repeats that is worth checking out if this isn't exactly the thing that you're looking for. So without further ado, let's check out this function. First of all, I'm going to color code my workspace a little bit so you can see what all the parts are. This is my output. This is the part that we're really interested in. I'll just color that orange. What we can see here, I've just got some descriptive text defining N and R, and that this is NPR. N is used to represent the number of things that you got, and R is the number of things that you are picking out of that group. So for example, mark these as inputs. So for example, if I have the set of things A, B, C, and D, I have 4 things. If I pick 2 of them, NPR is the question of how many permutations of them. In permutations, order is important. So for example, AB is one valid permutation, and it is distinctly different from BA. And that repeats on through. I have a little error or a function check, output check, that just counts the number of things that are in my output, and one that counts the number of things that actually should be in my output. The function permute just tells me how many arrangements there are, how many permutations there are of 4 things if I pick 2 of them. That's all that this does. So this is an error check. I'll just tag that as yellow. Now this function, which is wrapped in a lambda, or it is a lambda function, which I have named permute show, but this is the actual function itself, and it's a little bit much, so I've broken it out into smaller steps to show how this function actually works. I'll just unhide all of this. Here we go. So the first part of this function is to generate a value array, or an array of values. This is similar to what the permute A show function does, where I'm just generating an array that counts up. Now remember, this is in 4, with 4 objects, so this is in base 4, and I have the values 0 through 3. I'll just take all of these and give them a bit of a gray color, and that looks kind of okay. Yeah, so just count this up. If I were to change this to 4 and 3, so 4 objects, pick 3, you can see that it automatically fills out a few more. And we can always count this as being the 0th item, the 1th item, 2nd item, 3rd item. And of course, this represents 3 in base 4. 003 is the number 3 in base 4. 010 is the number 4 in base 4. And this just counts up through all of the possible combinations, all of the possible permutations with repeats. Actually, you can see that there's repeats periodically. Or here's another one. But we know that if there are repeats, then it's not a permutation. So the next step is the function filtered index. What filtered index does is it just takes, well, it required a by row because the unique function didn't work quite the way that I wanted it to. But basically all it does is it counts the number of unique values in that row. So for example, in the first row, there is only 1 unique value. That value is 0, but there is 1 unique value. In the next row, there is 0 and 0 and 1, which means that there are 2 unique values. 0 is unique and 1 is unique. But this is not a valid permutation because there are repeats, and we can't accept that. So what I would look for then is places where the unique, or the number of unique values is equal to the number of things picked out. So for example, this row with 0, 1, and 2, this would be a valid permutation. In fact, this is the first occurrence, and we would see that it corresponds to the value A, B, C, just matching values to this index. Okay, so that's filtered index. Filtered array, this line here, is just a filtering of the value array based on the filtered index. Pardon me, my birds also want to be YouTube famous. Just a second. So the output of the filter array is an array of rows that are valid permutations. You can see that there are much fewer rows than there were from the original array. Mapped array, this step right here, just pulls the correct value from my mapped values, A, B, C, D, according to whatever is in my filtered array. So A is the 0th item, B is the 1th item, C is the 2th item. And you can see in this part here, this index function, where I have to use the value of the filtered array plus 1, because Excel is fundamentally 1 indexed, or 1 base indexed, and I've worked in the 0 index space. And then finally, the output column just takes each row using a by row function and joins all the text together to spit out a final value. And that is how this function works, how we get the final output. Then I wrapped it into a single callable function called permute show. This is similar to the permute that Excel uses, but instead of having just a numerical output for the count, it actually outputs all of the individual values based on these inputs. So if you want to get a copy of this function and use it for yourself, there should be a link in the description to this video that will link to a spreadsheet, and there are instructions in that spreadsheet. It's basically just take one sheet and copy it into whatever Excel spreadsheet that you're working on that requires that function. And it'll be just that's a nice quick transfer over. If you do transfer this function into your own, you should leave me at least a like and maybe subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this or more similar functions. Thank you for watching, and happy excelling!